If you've been working hard in the gym, choosing all the right exercises, but you still can't seem to see the improvements in your glutes, then this video is for you. Today we are diving deep into one of the biggest mistakes that could be holding you back when trying to build your glutes. Sure, the exercise selection is the key, but how you execute them matters even more. You might be doing all the popular exercises, but if you are not engaging your glutes correctly, you might end up targeting more of your legs and also your lower back. And that's why so many people, men and women, end up with stronger legs but not the glutes they want, regardless how heavy they lift. And even though we know that the most important factors in order to grow your glutes are exercise selection, exercise execution, as well as loading and progressive overload, in this video we will go deep into the exercise execution. So make sure that you follow till the end so you can fix those mistakes and finally get your glutes growing. Okay, so the Smith machine for kicks, honestly I can see that girls doing so much, but you are so freaking limited with the weight you can do, and all what is engaging is your hamstrings and your lower back. First of all, just setting up and figuring out the setup is just quite hard. Second thing, you are not engaging your glutes very much, honestly. My question is, why wouldn't you just do your hip thrust and you can get really strong on that? And hip thrust is one of the best exercises you can do for your glutes. If you will try to progress this exercise, you would have to add more weight, and in order to do so, your hamstrings will be kicking in just so much. This is an exercise I was doing like 5-6 years ago, and I was then wondering why my glutes were not growing, and this is exactly why, because the exercise selection just sucks. So in this case, even if you set it up the best way possible, still you will not get the income, okay? And here you can see, as when you drive up, oh, you see I can't even lift it up properly, so just contract and squeeze. Here your hamstrings are working so much. I can feel a bit of glute at the top, but it's really hard. Even though you try to do that correctly and set it up correctly, you are just so limited in the whole movement. That's why, girl, do your thrust. Trust me, you can lift 100, 200 kilos, of course progressively, but you will never be too strong for the setup. Your hamstrings are working, you're hurting your lower back probably, and the glutes are not really engaging in that movement. So I would definitely recommend you to, for example, choosing to do this exercise in your routine rather than other exercises which are far better, will get you to add the size in your hamstrings, in your legs instead of your glutes, and that's one of the reasons why your glutes are not growing. Next up we have RDLs, and even though that RDLs are an amazing exercise and you definitely need to add them to your routine, what matters more is what kind of equipment you're using. So this is what we can see again on a daily basis. So girls think that the RDLs on a Smith machine are a great idea. First of all, you spend maybe 10 minutes just setting up the whole movement because it's just never correct, and that's why you, first of all, can't really feel it in your glutes. Second thing, you are feeling your low back too much. And especially the heavier you go, the more of the low back you'll be feeling. Why not Smith machine? Because again, you don't have the natural pathway. The bar can't travel with you that well, okay? This is how it should be. So I can stretch my glutes well, still a bit more tension on the lower back. The problem I have with the Smith machine is that 9.5 of 10 people perhaps set it up wrong. That's why if I have clients who are beginners, even intermediate, I do not get them to do the Smith machine. Mainly, I just program dumbbells first of all. That's the best way how you can learn and how you can progress over time. Barbell, yes, it's good to change over sometimes. It depends on the client. If they tend to experience more of the lower back pain, lower back is weaker, or they had some injuries in the past already, I do not like to program barbell as much. Sometimes, it's good to change it over. And then if they are strong enough, I like to also program the trap or hex bar if they have them available. So as I said, it is not bad to use the Smith machine. If you enjoy it, if you love it, that's great. But if you're struggling to grow your glutes and your legs are growing more than your glutes, then I would definitely recommend you to use the dumbbells instead, or move on to the trap bar. Also, I have seen some girls using just one dumbbell. The problem is that your feet are too wide, and it's just such a bad idea to use just one dumbbell. You should be using two and have the dumbbells outside of your knees. And the second thing I've seen also using a kettlebell, honestly, it's just a no. One kettlebell in between, not for the RDLs. For the straddle lifts, for the squats, yes, but not for the Romanian deadlifts. Normally you should have your feet only hip width apart, not wide, to allow a greater stretch in your glutes, that nice hip hinge. Okay? So if you're using kettlebell or only one dumbbell in between your legs, you already have to place your feet way further than you're supposed to. Same applies to the good mornings on the Smith machine. Again, most of the people position themselves wrong, so if you do not know how to do good mornings properly, I have posted more videos on my TikTok and my Instagram, but start with the barbell first. Your Smith machine is not helping you. Be limited with the movement as well. When we talk about the good morning, the barbell will allow you to go forward and back, compared to the Smith machine is fixed in one place. That's why you just get more tension in your lower back compared to getting most of your glutes. The next exercise is the curtsy lunge, and I prefer more of the normal reverse lunges. Curtsy lunge, as long as you do not experience some knee pain or had some injury previously, is a great exercise. Where most of the people go wrong is that they are stepping too far across. When we are doing normal lunges, you should be stepping hip width apart. Get your normal squat stance, and now you step nicely to the back, okay? You don't want to step behind each other. Now when you're doing curtsy lunge, you would step with your feet behind each other or a tiny bit more across, not doing such a big step. That can place more stress on your knee, and you can experience more pain over time. When you're doing your curtsy lunges, definitely make sure that you are stepping just a little bit across to get that stretch in the glute. And think stepping back and slightly across, not sideways. So you don't want to go side so far, but go back first, big step, and then just tiny bit across. Now the step ups are an amazing glute exercise. I love them so much. For the beginners it can be a little bit hard because you need to mind that you are lifting your whole body weight up. That's why they are so hard, okay? How I like to progress it is first starting with the body weight, holding on to something. So you would normally hold on a little support, not pulling yourself up, just a little support behind your head, and now trying to use that walking leg as much as possible. It will be more glute dominant movement. Need to do a bit bigger step to the back, and you are focusing on that stretch at the bottom. Do not load too heavy from the beginning straight away. It's not about going heavy, okay? What happens, you start popping up, back, and now focus on that stretch, and now push the floor down or push the bench down. Start gradually, focusing really on that leg you're standing on. Over time you can also use the Smith machine, you can use the cables. Personally, I prefer to use either dumbbells or the cables. Where many people go wrong is that whichever equipment they are using, calling it step down, there is no difference between step up and step down. Still, if it's glute focus, it's glute focus. Focus too much on this beginning where you have literally no stretch, and they go slowly and they go up. They basically miss the hardest part for the glutes, which is at the bottom, because your glutes are working hardest at the bottom of the movement when they stretch. Drive the hip back, of course, keep the belly in, and focus on this part. Here, the glutes are working the hardest. And now, without cheating with that back leg, try to contract your glutes. Back, stretch. You can even pause for a second, and then lift yourself up. Instead of going super slowly from the beginning and then do that fast movement at the bottom and jump off the back leg, you want to, from the beginning, you can go slightly faster, but slow down and put that emphasis at the bottom of the movement.
Exercise number 5 is the 45-degree hip abduction, or we could also call it glute medius kickback. Common mistake here is stepping in front of the cable and crossing the leg while having the back leg coming from the behind. Many people say that it helps them to understand which direction they should be driving the working leg, as well as that they feel the glute better. However, this will actually reduce the range of motion of the given muscle and make the movement less effective. Instead, step more back, have that cable nicely cross the front leg so you can achieve a greater range of motion and your glute medius will work even more. Just because you have certain sensation, it does not mean that the muscle is engaging more or you'll get better results by doing so. Instead, practice control and make sure that you are using appropriate load while progressively overloading in this movement.
Talking belt squats, not many people will have this machine available. You will do perfectly fine with the regular strut lifts, either you are using the dumbbells or the kettlebell in this case, which is perfectly fine, or you are doing the barbell squats. Now, if you have this machine, where people go wrong is the positioning in this case. The first thing is that they are placing their feet too far from each other, or then they stand just too much in the front. If you want to target the glute max, which is this muscle, and here, place your feet just slightly more than hip width apart, not wider. If you're doing wide stance, sumo stance, you will not be engaging the glutes max very much. And instead, you will target your legs, your adductors, and the glute medius, which sits here on the side. Again, if you want to target those, it's perfectly fine. But if you want to maximize your glute max growth, then you want to position your feet closer together. The mistake number 2 is if you load too heavy weight, and you will start cheating. And how you cheat is mostly that you start hanging off the machine and pulling yourselves up. So you'll be using your upper body too much in this case. So first of all, we will place this one here. Just lift the weight up. Now you should start slightly more in the front, not too much in the front. Okay, again, we do not want to do this. Okay, so this will be too far. Yeah, it looks super sexy or cool on Instagram, perhaps, but this will not engage your glute max. So what we want to do instead, place the feet underneath you. Imagine that you would want to do the same movement as when you're using dumbbell or a kettlebell. You don't want to be cheating. Feet closer together, slightly more than hip width apart, toes more narrow, not pointing out. And now you will be focusing on leaning forward, driving the hips back, but you need to bend your knees. See how you can do this. So even if I'm not holding, I will be still just fine to perform the movement. Compared to if you go too much in the front, now you can't because you will start hanging off the machine. It's not a natural movement for your body. And yeah, people can do it, but that's where you are engaging your upper body more, and also your lower back is engaging too much when you can start having the pain as well. Again, feet closer together, engage your core, lean forward, drive the hips back, and get that nice stretch in your glutes. 1. Try to do a few reps without holding, or if you're holding, just try to use this as a support, not to hang off the machine. Touch just lightly and contract. The positioning of your body, of your feet will be very, very important, and also the loading. That's where most of the people mess up. If you're not quite sure how to perform this exercise, or if you're a beginner, I would say start with the dumbbell only. You will do the same movement. When you get your form right and you'll be more confident within the movement, you can move on to the machine if you have it available. And that's the wrap for today's video. I hope that this breakdown has helped you to see why you are not seeing the result in good growth you want, and to identify the possible mistakes, fix them, and move forward from there. Remember, it's not all about picking the right exercises, but also executing them correctly and challenging them progressively in a strategic way. If you found this video helpful, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on more exercise tips and workouts. And if you want to learn more on building glutes, make sure to check this video next, where I explain 10 best glute exercises you can be doing to grow your glutes, as well as giving you some tips on correct exercise execution. Thanks for watching, but I will see you in this video next. Bye!